Good day to all members of the media and the listening public. I am joined here today by Mr. Romeo Roddick from the Bermuda College, Ms. Misha Madfoot from Take 5 Limited, Mr. Carl Masson from Yellowfield Group, Mr. Sean Leakey from Hamilton Princess and Beach Club, and Ms. Savannah Parfit from Huckleberry. As the Minister of Economy and Labor, my responsibility includes providing the necessary services and opportunities to get Bermudians back to work. To that end, the public will recall that one of the 31 priority initiatives, as outlined in Bermuda's Economic Recovery Plan, is the implementation of our youth employment strategy. This strategy will help guide unemployed Bermudian youth back to work and train them in jobs currently occupied by guest workers. And so I am excited to announce the launch of the Learn to Earn program. This public-private partnership collaboration is funded by independent restaurant operators, the Department of Workforce Development, the Bermuda College, and the Bermuda Tourism Authority. It is part of the government's overall plan to reduce youth unemployment by attracting inexperienced job seekers into the tourism industry and giving them hands-on experience plus international and entry-level certification. This two-part training program is set to kick off in early May 2022 and aims to attract 16 young Bermudian job seekers and train them for careers in the food and beverage industry. The chosen participants will undertake skills development courses followed by paid on-the-job training opportunities. The program will include entry-level academic course work at the Bermuda College towards the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute certification, industry-specific skills training towards certifications, give participants experience as baristas, food handlers, wine servers, and other skills. Program participants will participate in an 8-week paid internship with a week spent working at each participating restaurant group. Young Bermudians between the ages of 18 and 26 interested in a career in food and beverage industry are invited to apply through www.bermudajobboard.bm and search Learn to Earn. At this time, I want to offer my sincere thanks and appreciation to the Department of Workforce Development, the BTA, and the 5 participating restaurant groups consisting of Take 5 Limited, Yellowfield Group, Island Restaurant Group, Hamilton Princess Hotel, and the Huckleberry Restaurant. Without your commitment to our youth, this program would not be possible. Lastly, I want to remind the public that this government remains committed to working with stakeholders across the island to help employ Bermudians in all areas. This partnership is yet another example of government and private sector organizations working together for the betterment of young Bermudians. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. At this time, we welcome questions from the media.
Thank you, Minister, and everyone here. First of all, Gary Foster Skelton, Bermuda Broadcasting. This is not a new program, the Learn to Earn program. In fact, there are 2 people I spoke to 2 years ago prior to the pandemic here. So can you tell us, of the Learn to Earn programs that have taken place so far, how many started on the programs, how many completed the programs, and how many have stayed in work in the hospitality sector?
Good morning, Gary. That was a very good question. So last year when we did the Learn to Earn, we had about 16 applicants. 16 participants. Of those 16, they all completed the Learn to Earn program. And while we don't have accurate statistics right now as to how many of them stayed in the industry from my engagement with many of them, I know that many of them are still in the industry, and I have seen several of them working in various different locations across the island.
Okay. But we don't have actual statistics on the continued success of this program.
I have to say the program is successful. While there aren't any statistics right now that I could provide to you, I do know from personal interactions and engagements with those participants that they are still in the industry. They may not be with the original participating members of the Learn to Earn, but they do work within various other locations across the industry.
Okay. And one of the issues we face in Bermuda is hospitality is not seen as a high-earning environment compared to other employment. Often it's said overseas workers can make the Bermuda dollar go further in their places of origin than a Bermudian can make the Bermudian dollar go here. How do you respond to that?
So as we look at the hospitality industry overall, there are a variety of occupational categories, and there are opportunities for persons to come into the industry at an entry level and progress through the industry. And so there are examples of where remuneration is adequate for persons to maintain a healthy lifestyle in the hospitality industry. Notwithstanding, the entry-level jobs are some of the lower-paying jobs when you just look at their compensation package, if you exclude gratuitous. But on the on-season, certainly gratuitous help to boost those remuneration levels. Additional to that, that is why the government is also keen on implementing a statutory minimum wage rate to boost the basic compensation levels of individuals within that industry in particular.
And when I did speak to Mr. Massam and Mrs. Medford here 2 years ago, Ms. Medford, you did speak about the necessity perhaps for a more management training, more opportunity for climbing the ladder within the hospitality industry. How has that moved? Has the needle moved on that at all in the last 2 years?
I would say the needle will move on that particular initiative. This morning we have a stakeholder meeting with the hospitality industry, and that is one of the topics of conversation. How we get more Bermudians into the management level within the hotel and restaurant industry within Bermuda. And so the plan is to get Bermudians interested in hospitality, get them starting entry-level jobs, and then work with employers so that they can progress through the organization. And there are a number of establishments that will demonstrate that they have active management training programs in place.
Okay, and my final question refers to an outside organisation, although I'm sure you're very aware of them, Roger Paris, of the Skills Development Programme, working for employment in a different area, obviously, in landscaping and things like that. But he addressed an issue with some of his students behind him, saying they came here and they were unemployable. They were facing issues of timekeeping, quality of their work, etc. Have you faced these issues in the program so far, and how are you addressing that?
So that is an issue we face with a large portion of our young people. Notwithstanding, we have employment skills courses in the high school system. Employment skills courses will also be a feature of every program that the Department of Workforce Development puts on.
The fact that we're facing that program, does that not present something of an indictment to what has primarily been the PLP party watching over our education system for the last 25 years?
Not necessarily an indictment. What we did is recognize a problem, and we now have a permanent feature within our education system to address workforce skills and employability skills. Outside of that, we've also integrated the same programs within our Bermuda College. And so persons that are taking the dual enrollment program, they also get that skills training. And then when they have training programs within the Department of Workforce Development, they also get those employability skills as well. And so we've recognized that there is a gap in that particular area for some of our young people. And so I don't want to categorize all of our young people as being unemployable or not possessing those skills. Some of those individuals that we are able to provide internships, they're able to go into the employment establishment and show their value and retain employment after their internships. And so I don't want to paint the brush across all our young people that they don't have employability skills, but where we recognize there's a gap, we certainly try to fill those gaps.
Thank you, Minister.
Hi, Minister, everybody. Good morning. Sean Connolly from the Royal Gazette here. Minister, what's the cost of the Earn to Learn thing, and is that all being paid by the private sector?
No, it is not being paid from all by the private sector. I'll certainly be in a position to share the entire course of the program at the conclusion of the program, but what I would say is the course is shared, as indicated in the press statement, between the Bermuda College, the Department of Workforce Development, and private sector restaurant participants.
You don't know how much it's going to cost?
I don't have that figure with me at the moment.
Right. Do you not think it would have been wise to actually know the figure while you're launching the scheme again?
Certainly, the scheme has been budgeted for. We certainly have funds to run the program. I don't have the figure, but I can follow up shortly after this press conference with the total cost of the program.
Well, that would be helpful. You issued a release this morning on issues with Filipino passport holders. Could you explain what those issues were, please?
I'm unclear on what you're asking.
You issued a press release about an hour ago about you met the Filipino ambassador.
I did have a meeting with representatives from the Filipino embassy in both Ottawa and Washington, D.C. The embassy has a mission to Bermuda, and they assist Filipino nationals with renewal of passports and things of that nature. That particular program has nothing to do with the Bermuda government.
Right, but you just issued a press release about it.
We issued a press release to say that we met to discuss immigration issues and other issues as it pertains to Filipinos in the workplace.
And what were the issues that you discussed?
We talked about a number of issues in terms of ensuring that people use the proper avenues to remain in Bermuda. We discussed in terms of when issues arise and how they can make complaints to the Labor Department, and ensuring Filipino nationals understand our Employment Act, and they understand when their employer breaches the Employment Act, what is the recourse available to them.
And how many Filipino passport holders does this affect?
We didn't have direct conversation with the Filipino embassy around passport holders.
But you said you just discussed issues regarding passport holders. So I'm asking you how many Filipino passport holders this affects.
Every Filipino in Bermuda is a Filipino passport holder, and so we did not discuss issues around Filipino passport holders. We discussed issues as it pertains to the Filipino community in Bermuda. We discussed a number of immigration matters, and we also discussed matters pertaining to Filipinos in the workplace.
And how many Filipinos do we have in the workforce here?
I believe it's estimated as 1,300.
Okay. With your economic minister's hat on, obviously potential legalization of cannabis will affect the economy. Why has there been a delay of more than a month in sending the cannabis licensing bill to the governor? Is this because there are still negotiations going on with London about it?
I'm not aware of any negotiations, and that question is best suited for the Attorney General's office.
Okay. Bob Richards, former finance minister, he said that last week's economic roundtable in Barbados, attended by the Premier, was just a photo op junket in the sun, and Bermuda isn't flexing the muscles it has financially to get forward on fintech and gaming laws. That's a fair point, isn't it?
I wasn't aware that Bob Richards was present at that meeting.
No, he wasn't present at the meeting, but he's a former finance minister, so his voice does carry some weight, and those are his opinions. That it was a junket in the sun, it didn't get anywhere, it was a photo op. That's quite fair, isn't it? Do you think?
Bob Richards is entitled to his opinion.
So you would support the fact that it was constructive?
I believe that every time that we have international engagement on meaningful topics that impact this country, we ensure that Bermuda makes a significant contribution to those meetings.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you, media.